So you've not got a clue what's going on in Iran, but you don't want to look like a thicky dum-dum in front of all your mates. Here's a quick rundown before the Iranian regime shuts the internet down here as well. Iran is here, it's very big, and it's been run by evil Captain Birdseye Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and his unelected gang of religious clerics since 1989. You might remember Iran from last year when the US dropped a dildo bomb on its nuclear facilities.
It is called the Massive Ordnance Penetrator.
Since then, the economy in Iran has gotten very bad, with the currency suddenly depreciating on the 28th of December, causing people to go out onto the street to protest. Now, the Iranian regime doesn't like protests. It really doesn't like protests. In fact, the last time there were major protests in Iran was in 2022, when the morality police, remember evil Captain Birdseye and his catch of crazy clerics, arrested a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, for not wearing her headscarf correctly. Anyway, Mahsa Amini was killed by the authorities while being held in custody in Iran, sparking nationwide demonstrations against the gender apartheid and restriction on women's rights in Iran, which the regime responded to by murdering 550 protesters and detaining 20,000. So when the Iranian people took to the streets a couple of weeks ago, people were like, fucking cool it. And Donald Trump was like, if you start shooting unarmed citizens, we're going to start shooting you. To which the Iranians said, shut up, Donald, get back to shooting unarmed citizens of your own. So basically, the Iranian regime did what it always did and started firstly beating up protesters and then, according to footage, going into hospitals, treating those injured protesters and beating them up again, which prompted millions of Iranians across every single province of the country to go, fuck this, you crusty old repressive bastards have been ruling us for too long. And then more protests happened. This got the attention of a man called Reza Pahlavi, who's the son of Iran's old Shah, who ruled Iran in the 50s, 60s and 70s before being booted out by the evil fish finger-loving clerics in an event called the Iranian Revolution. Pahlavi now lives in the US and thinks that he can come back to Iran and pick up where his dad left off as the new leader, even though his dad was a crusty old authoritarian bastard as well. Anyway, Pahlavi was tweeting all of these thoughts, so the Iranian regime switched the internet off so nobody could hear them. Now we basically don't have a clue what's happening in the country, except incredibly brave and incredibly young people keep leaking footage from the protests that shows an absolute bloodbath, with overflowing morgues, burning buildings, and people being shot at close range by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Basically exactly what Donald Trump said would prompt him to launch an attack against Iran, but he hasn't launched an attack against Iran. A few reasons for that. History isn't exactly littered with success stories of Western intervention in the Middle East.
On Tuesday night, I gave the order for British forces to take part in military action in Iraq.
Also, people rightly point to all of the peace that Donald Trump has brought to other parts of the world, like Ukraine and Gaza and Venezuela. Also, attacking Iran could strengthen evil Birdseye and his despicable regime, because he's already trying to say that the protests are being orchestrated by the US and Israel rather than his own people who have simply had enough. Anyway, all of this is incredibly scary and incredibly tragic, and solidarity with the incredibly brave people of Iran.